Yo, what's up? Welcome to Shack Central episode 9 here on Shack News' Twitch, YouTube, X accounts, on Facebook. We're all over the place. Um, I'm Donovan. That's Denny. What's up?
Yo. Well, happy Friday. We made it to another one.
We did. They keep coming faster and faster every week. I feel like time's just flying by as we ramp up in the summer.
I agree with that. More sun-time hours too, though, which I'm not mad about.
That's
I'll
true.
take
That's
it.
true. You know, when we do the show in the fall, it'll be like sundown, halfway through it. But no, yeah, we got full sun outside. Been an interesting week for pop culture, both for popular culture and unpopular culture. I think have both gotten some equal run the last several days here. But before we get into some of the more fascinating, dominating topics here, why don't we just hit a little rundown?
Sounds good to me.
um, some of our smaller stories. So, Disney did their upfront last week, which an upfront is essentially like a presentation, like you see it like a Comic Con or whatever, but for like investors, almost
Yeah.
like just them being like, hey, this is all the stuff we're gonna do that's gonna make you money. It's usually private, but at Disney's they gave some new information on Vision Quest, which is really happening, Denny. They really made it a Vision TV show called Vision Quest, and it comes out October 14th on Disney Plus. We didn't get much. We have a picture of like some of the creators on stage, and there's the logo, and we do have a new shot of Paul Bettany. It's like from behind. He's got like on this black coat and a top hat. People said he looks like a Mr. What's It from Stranger Things.
Oh,
And he's
wow.
walking up towards this like old house that's very tall. Um, they announced this show many years ago, and I never thought they would actually make it. It felt like Armor Wars, where they're just like they keep saying it's gonna come out, and I'm like, is it
Yeah.
gonna come out? But it seems like it's real. Are you hyped for Vision Quest?
Um. I feel like I have better thoughts about Vision Quest after Wonder Man was a thing,
That's true.
considering
Yeah.
where things started off there. But
Hmm.
yeah. I think this comes down to like the actual creative vision in place for this one. Like it's got to be really strong to pull this off. Like really strong, considering like what's also happening this year between all the other things going on. Even in the world of like the
Precisely.
Avengers side and stuff like that. And then also like are they going to stop marvelizing to the point in which everything has to be tied to the bigger picture in this scenario, or will it be allowed to be its own
Yeah.
thing?
I would have to imagine a Vision show. You just let be its own thing. It's fucking Vision, for goodness sakes. But like, the fact that it's been 6 years since WandaVision is kind of crazy. Like, it took them 6 years to do this because they've been talking about this since that show ended. So they're very late to the drawing here. But I'm with you. Wonder Man was great, so I'm willing to trust it. And I think with Marvel, it's not even always about if the thing is good or not. Like, they can still release good things sometimes. They've had like a couple good movies here and there. They still have a couple good shows, but they've just lost like the sauce, right? Where it just feels like it was important to watch it, Where it felt
Yeah.
like everybody was watching and everybody was something like Wonder Man was great, but it felt like it felt like an indie show. It felt like if you knew, you knew. But Marvel was never like, at least the movies, comics maybe, but movies were never like if you know, you know. It was everyone watched, everyone knew what was happening, and Vision Quest is not going to be the show that makes everybody go like, "Oh my god, MCU is crazy." It could be the best show of the year,
Yeah.
and it will have 1/8 the viewership of like stuff they put out 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Oversaturation is a thing, and I think they learned that the hard way.
Yeah,
Like cranking out 3 or 4 shows, in a year, we're trying to make everything seem like it's a major event and everything else is important, and then
yeah,
quality dipped. So, man, I'm willing to give it a try. If I see more that's like, catching my eye, like, I feel like after WandaVision, people are a lot more open to like going down the Vision path, considering like that everyone was talking about how that looked like it was going to be dead on arrival at first, and then it got deep down that rabbit hole and turned into something special on its own. So yeah, several years to get this working. And I did see a rumor about them, potentially making Technicolor a thing for this, but I couldn't confirm that enough to say it's actually a thing. But there were people talking about like potentially that Kevin Feige got involved in making Technicolor involved with some of this project. But yeah, I'm curious to see where things go with this one. It is coming out in October of this year, so Also, interesting time for that to be dropping. You know, pretty much 2 months before the Avengers drops and such, potentially with some things going on that end. So interesting times over at Marvel. I mean, you got to hit out the park with some of these. I mean, obviously Spider-Man's dropping first, so got to stick the landing.
Spider-Man's in July, and then Vision is in October, and then Avengers Doomsday is in December.
Yeah, definitely a stacked, heavy part of the second half of the year after being a bit drier. But hey, I liked Daredevil this year, so hey, I'm on the champion for that one.
I finished Daredevil. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I can chat with you about it.
Nice.
Dive deep when we get to the film section, but yeah. Look, I'm hoping it's good, exciting. I would love nothing more than to have a very good, awesome Marvel thing to talk about these days.
Very true.
There's an announcement thing. They came out of nowhere, but I guess in reality I should have seen it coming. Grown Ups 3 is officially in the works at Netflix with Adam Sandler. I think your face says it all.
Why? Why are we doing this? Who asked for this?
Netflix's endless pursuit to squeeze every ounce of juice they can out of the Adam Sandler machine. I mean, they already, dug up Happy Gilmore, did that sequel, and they're like, what else can we acquire? And they're doing Grown Ups, which I guess Grown Ups is old enough now to get a legacy sequel. Like I guess I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like we should just let the Adam Sandler train die, guys. Like, can we move on, please? No, Netflix, you're gonna keep milking this. Like, what are we doing here? Like, no. I'm already ready to move on to the next story, but we're gonna keep it going, okay?
They haven't confirmed the cast is returning, but the rumor says they will, and reportedly the story is about a group of friends going on a trip to prove that they can still have fun in their 60s. So, there you go.
Well, there's been a lot of those kind of stories happening, like these scripts happening, where it's like old man or retired so and so finds a group of young, up and comers, and then they have like, we're gonna make this fun. And I've seen like several of those projects get greenlit recently, or like dropping trailers for them. I think Kevin Hart's doing one, and some other stuff. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, there's a lot of that happening lately. I'm not sure why, but it keeps happening. Hey, what's up, Mocha? Thanks for sliding through.
Hey, thanks for the follow too. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it's because like the 21st century movie stars, all the people who dominated the 2000s and even the 2010s, they're all getting a little old. They're all just they're not 40 anymore. They're 60. So that's just kind of like the projects they're sort of starting to flock to, is these old man still got it storylines.
Still got it.
Maybe,
yeah.
Unk still got it stories. But yeah, I mean, there's probably not a chance in the world that I watch this movie when it comes out. But I mean,
but it's happening.
The Grown Ups fans. Yeah.
The Grown Ups fans. Okay. Well, let's calm down. I'm sure there's one guy holding up a sign like, yeah, that's me, I want more Adam.
He's been outside the studio every week like, green light Grown Ups 3. A quick conspiracy music story, Dave. I'm just curious if you had any take on, because we kind of tossed this one back around in Slack. I saw people theorizing about it, but no one ever really had a resolution as to why, at the beginning of this week, on Monday or Tuesday, I believe, Kendrick Lamar, and by Kendrick I mean whoever runs his YouTube channel or whatever, deleted the music videos for Not Like Us and Luther, which is a song with SZA, and then re-uploaded them. At the same time, I think it was Luther was unavailable, streaming for very shortly, for literally a day, and then it was back. And then that just kind of all happened, and then just we moved forward, and there was never any sort of reasoning given to all that. All I saw was I think it was Punch from TDE tweeted a laughing emoji or something, but that was it. But we never figured out what that was all about. I know people tried to immediately tie it into the fact that Drake was releasing an album, but I don't know.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories are real. There's a lot of chatter happening, and of course we were all confused at the time because it was dropping off everywhere, back to back to back. Like, oh shit, did something happen? There's some kind of legal thing going on. And yeah, I feel like they maybe, like you were saying, there might be a potential deluxe edition happening or something like that, where they had to get the rights together and stuff for another drop. But I don't think this was Drake related, as some people were thinking. Oh, the Iceman's coming. Oh no, we're gonna show Kenny how. No, I'm sorry guys, but No one believes that. We're gonna get into the actual, the Drake album, which I did not bother listening to, but yes,
But no, I did.
Oh, okay. Well,
We're gonna talk about the Iceman and the Maid of Honor and Habibti shortly. But before then, a story that actually put a smile on my face. Gladys, the actress behind Gladys, Amy Madigan, is going to be in Ryan Coogler's X-Files TV show.
Oh, yeah.
And we already knew that Danielle Deadweiler was going to be a lead alongside Himesh Patel. Automatically, what a fucking cast. What a fucking cast. Also, they added Steve Buscemi is going to be in this. Like, this is one of those projects that's like, based on who's making it, Ryan Coogler, and then the cast. I'm starting to get to that territory where I'm like, this can't be bad. Cool people involved, great actors. Amy Madigan obviously just won an Oscar for her role as Gladys in Weapons.
Big moves, for horror in general. Like people are getting past the elevated horror term and just using horror as a thing in general, because that's what it's a cool genre. But yes, the cast is stacked for this, which we'll talk about another stacked cast coming up, as well as the Batman. But yeah, I'm really happy to see like things coming together here. Like it's like Coogler seems like he has a quality vision happening here right now, and he's gonna follow through on it. And I want to see him being able to like have that kind of room and space with a television show to get some thorough storylines going that might move beyond just an episode-to-episode situation. So big moves happening across the board for sure.
Yeah, exciting. Probably still gonna be a while till we get this. They're still casting it, so I don't think it's even filming yet. But wherever this comes, I will be there. Promise you.
Coming to Hulu.
Yeah, hey, look, that could be a little hit for Hulu. That's one that I will make sure I'm subscribed whenever the time comes, so that I can watch it. One that I'm glad you put on here, because I actually saw this and then I forgot to write it myself. But Koji Suzuki, who is the creator of The Ring, specifically he wrote the book Ring, in Japanese Ringu, which was eventually adapted into the Japanese film Ringu, which we in America, as we so greatly do, take it and turns it into an American movie called The Ring.
Of course.
He passed away this week. Yeah, he passed away. Obviously, the creator of Sadako, which is the name of the girl from The Ring, which is probably what most people refer to her as, the girl from The Ring. But just one of the most iconic horror characters and faces probably ever in existence. If you haven't seen The Ring, or at least in the 21st century, if you haven't seen The Ring, the girl crawling out of the well through the TV with her hair down in her face. Like, that image has haunted anyone who was like anywhere near young since the year 2000, pretty much. So R.I.P. to a horror legend.
Yes, rest in peace to Suzuki.
Yeah, always cool when you could create something so iconic that it will outlast you. I always will think of like Scary Movie when Brenda's fighting.
Yeah,
it's Samara, because when we did the American version, her name was Samara, not Sadako, but she's fighting her in I think a Scary Movie too. Just amazing.
A classic banger, yes.
Yeah, and we'll see more. They will definitely run back The Ring many more times in horror before it's all said and done. Speaking of horror, Marvel Midnight got announced, which is actually comic book news. They're going to do 3 horror-themed comic book runs this year, Denny, based on the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yes. There's going to be more Spider-Man. You need to crank out the classic characters to get that money in, that comic book money first, before you can move on to the other stuff. But to be fair, that's comics nowadays. You get the money going in, and then you move on to like adding in some more of that dark side of things. Because people are like, where's the blades? And I understand, but yes, because like you have a horror line coming out. Folks are like, what's happening here? Give me the goods. But I'm really excited for some of this because it's basically going to be its own line. But it's rare, in comics, we haven't talked about comics as much outside of like the actual projects, movie side or TV side. But this is kind of a bigger deal right now because it's essential to kind of like we haven't seen a shakeup like this happening since like your Ultimate Universe and that kind of thing. And it's also a situation where like they're trying to compete. It feels like directly with the Absolute DC line, which has been happening, where they've been having like completely alternate versions of the characters and stuff like that. So it's pretty much their chance to kind of make something happen on that end with some iconic characters and giving them a new kind of twist on what they are based on and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. There's always like some sort of annual event in comics, whether it be big crossovers or seasonal stuff, and this could be good. I'm curious as to what the angle is here. I think out of the three, I mean, Spider-Man's done horror stuff before, you look like Man Spider or whatnot. X-Men could be interesting. I'm not really sure what that looks like. Fantastic Four, I'm also not sure, but I guess you could get into like a cosmic horror thing, right? If you go back to their origin story or something, you have them get lost in space and it becomes like a weird sci-fi horror thing. But
yeah, I mean, there's freedom here because you're not tied necessarily to like the in universe storylines and that kind of thing. So like like you see like a midnight X-Men situation here, and you got Storm over there with fangs. So like I'd be down with some Vampire Storm. Controlling some elements and maybe some blood action. Give me some blood storms. Like I know people would kill it with the cosplay. Like give me all that energy right there. All right, make it a situation where maybe she's popping up and there's like there's a vampire T'Challa pops up too and is like, I'm the Black Panther and wants to smoke. All right, and Blade's like, yo, I'll take both of you out. And they're like, oh, you gonna take me out? You know who I am? I'm the goddess of the wind. Like, look, I'd swing and get that issue. Give me all that.
I'm with you. And hey, my boy Nightcrawler looks icy on this cover too.
Yeah. Got the sword out.
Outfit is he looks clean. Then so that's Midnight X-Men #1, just being written by Jonathan Hickman, big name in the comic space.
Yeah, huge.
Coming out August. It'll be the first one. Fantastic Four be the second in September. No cover for that or Spider-Man yet, but Spider-Man will be October. And actually, I can read a bit about some of these. The Fantastic Four one, they say in Midnight Fantastic Four, an obsessive scientist delves into the secrets of the universe, perhaps best left unknown to mankind, leaving himself and 3 others warped in a strange and horrifying ways, where horrible secrets lie in the new dimensions they've discovered.
Interesting.
Yeah,
sounding big space horror energy. Maybe some
Yeah.
Lovecraftian type stuff to you.
I like the vibe they're going for there. And then the Spider-Man one. And in Midnight Spider-Man, a young Peter Parker is transformed into a hideous spider hybrid by the ruthless Oscorp Corporation in their pursuit for eternal life. When Oscorp begins to use the secrets unlocked by his mutation to create more human-animal hybrids, Peter embraces his grotesque new form to stop them. That sounds like straight up Man Spider, right? Like a new version of
that sounds like some beastie Man Spider energy right there. Give this man full 8 arms. He's going in on Oscorp. But that also means we might get like a creepy ass Green Goblin. I'd be like, whoa,
Oh, that'd be interesting. Like a Goblin Man.
Yeah, or like he's always had that alternate persona thing going on. So like maybe you're gonna get like 2 sides of him in a different way.
I like that. That could be good. Yeah. And then actually, I realized I didn't read the X-Men one. The clock strikes midnight, and it's the dark dawn of a new era, beginning with Midnight X-Men. The shadows of New York City are stalked by vampires and the mutant empires.
Ooh.
The sword of Damocles hangs over the peace between these 2 species and the factions within them. An outright war is brewing, and the unturned will be caught in the crossfire. All right.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. Like they give it a little bit of a in a world type of energy, but it's fine. All right, like we can roll with that Midnight X-Men. All right. I'm down to see mutants in a different way, but yeah, like this cover is pretty damn sick though. I mean, they got like the stairwells he's standing on are like blood pouring down them. Like that's pretty damn sick. All right, well, Marv, I'm going to give y'all a try. With this Midnight line, I'll check out some X-Men #1.
We should August is the first, the X-Men one. We should do like a review or something, even if it's just the first issue.
Yeah, I'm down.
Do a little discussion break, a little comic book corner, if you will.
Hey, I like the sound of that.
Well, tell me if you like the sound of this, Denny. Aubrey Drake Graham.
Oh God, I knew you were gonna jump scare me with Drake. Oh God. Okay, well, let me. Yeah, the Drake, please.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
Multiple albums.
Drake,
Okay.
Yeah, Drake, as he goes by, released not one, not two, but 3 albums last night. 3 separate individual albums that released at 12 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. One of them we knew about. We've actually known about it for at least, he's been talking about this shit for like a year or two. Iceman, which released. But what we didn't know about until just a couple hours before midnight was that there were 2 other albums. One named Maid of Honor, and the other one named Habibti.
Habibti.
and-
Yeah. Whoa,
Yeah,
Drizzy.
So, yep, you know, it's certainly a phrase he loves to say. So, I almost don't know where to start with this because I've listened to Iceman, Denny. I listened to Habibti, and I am like 30% through Maid of Honor. I wasn't able to finish it before we started here. But, I just want to, before I even talk about the music itself, Drake, obviously this is like his first big release post, Kendrick Lamar. Actually, no, because he did the thing with Party Next Door, I guess, which was right after. But in the time since, you know, since we've all had time to digest it, this is his first big release, and there's this trend that's been happening in rap specifically, but in a lot of musical genres over the streaming era, where we just dump like 35 songs out, just shit them out onto like an album or multiple albums, and there's no vision. There's no refinements. There's no like artistic through line. There's no identity. It's just like, here's 40 songs we made over the course of the last 10 months or more or less. Have fun, and you have to like sift through them. And 75% of it at minimum is always bad. You'll never listen to it again. And then there's like a couple of decent songs. Drake is incredibly guilty of this here, but he's not the first person to do this. This is a lot of albums have done this. And I've seen people last night being like, was streaming the death of like the album as it used to be? Like when these albums were like 10 songs, 12 songs, like you had to cut songs. Like when I listened to these new albums, I'm like, I don't think he cut a single song. I think every song he made over the last like 2 years just got put on the album, because why not?
Yikes.
Because there's no downside to doing it, because people just loop the shit on Spotify and it gets the plays and you get the 25-cent payout or whatever. And it's just like, it just feels like artistically it's so messy. Like, to drop 3 albums, it's just like, it's almost like you don't even respect yourself as an artist, you know? Like there's something special, ceremonial about like a new album coming out, especially if you're not an artist that drops like frequently. So to just be like, "Blah, here you go," it's like, okay, well, I mean, if you're not all that fucking excited about this, why should I be?
I figured, maybe he figured that, there'd be enough joy and like, here, guys, you get more content, more. You guys just thought you were getting 1, but you're getting 3,
Surprise, motherfucker!
Here you go, hold
And
it.
look, and don't get me wrong, because you can press like a double album, like that's a thing. Like people have done double albums, right?
Yeah.
It's, you release and then you release again, or A side, B side. I think my favorite recent example was 2020. Louis Vert, who was big when I was in high school, did he did Eternal Take, and then the week later he did Uzi vs. The Road Part 2, and it was like a deluxe B-side thing. I thought those were like 2 really good albums, and maybe he did just crap those out, but fuck, those were a lot of good songs. But this doesn't even like feel like that, because if you wanted to be optimistic, right, and give Drake as much benefit as you possibly could, there's a world where you could have done like, all right, I'm Drake, here's 3 albums, and one of them I'm gonna rap and act tough with Future and 21 Savage, and then on this one I'm gonna be soft like it's Take Care, and I'll sing with Party Next Door. And then maybe the third one is like, he did like a house album a few years ago, maybe just like another one like that. And you could have had like these like carefully curated albums that brought like different distinct flavors of your skill set. But that's not even what he's doing.
Yikes.
It's like kind of what he's doing. Like Iceman's more like your generic like Drake album where it's got your like, your bumpy hip-hop
Drizzy.
beats and OVO 40 on production and whatnot. And then, Maid of Honor, which I haven't finished this album. We have to talk about this. Look at the cover art for Maid of Honor. It's his mom. It's a picture of his mother, presumably when she got married, or I don't know, some of when she was younger, she sold flowers.
I'm scared to
And
even
then
put that
his
on the
face in the
screen.
background.
I feel like it
Yeah,
might curse us just by.
it's, but he puts his mom and the baby picture of himself in the background on the cover of this album. The first song on the album track list is called "Ho Phase." Why would you ever associate the image of your mother, your innocent mother, with Ho Phase, and then it's an album about like his sexual escapades with like sexual references and stuff. I'm like, what are we doing? How do you not stop and be like, that's just weird? That's just like
Oh,
I can't
okay.
imagine why you would do that. And you could have just, if you wanted this to be like, I don't know what the idea was. You could have put the picture of any random woman on there. Drake's done it before.
Yes.
He's put random woman on plenty of album covers. Why put a picture of your young mother on an album?
Not kicking off the
called
whole phase, you know, with your mama on the cover, bro. Like that's
it's just
we
such
gotta
a
do better out
self-owned-
here.
Yeah.
You're giving them artillery to work with right there, because, bruh,
Just
ain't no way.
Such a ridiculous self-own. I couldn't believe it when I realized what it was, and I was like, "That's his mom. That's Sandy." And, you know,
Not Sandy.
was,
Look, Kenny's in the back right now, writing a SpongeBob verse, just like, yo, Sandy. Look, all right, it's already happening. Prepare
you can't
yourself.
even parody that.
Good
It's just-
lord,
Yeah,
a mess.
And then of course I guess I'll talk about the other covers. You have Iceman, which is the I've seen people talk about this, the Michael Jackson glove.
Yes, I'm very confused by the glitter glove. I'm like, what is happening there? Like, like the glitter glove is happening. I'm confused about why it's happening. Like you got that being a thing, and I'm like,
He's always been so fixated on comparing himself to Michael Jackson, right? This is like a thing he's been doing for literally a decade, right? Even Scorpion had the like posthumous like Michael Jackson feature, right? And I saw somebody point out last night, and they were like, "You got to pick which side you're on, Drake, because you can't try to use Michael Jackson, his imagery, and his fame for clout. But then last year, or no, 2 years ago, in the Kendrick beef, he had that line on Family Matters where he kind of like throws Michael Jackson to the bus, where he tried to flip it, and he was like, "Maybe you're Prince, I'm actually Mike," or no, maybe you're I'm Prince, you're actually Mike. And then he's like Michael was praying his features would change so people believe that he's actually white. It's like you can't shit on Michael Jackson like
Hey,
that.
man.
Vitiligo, and then
Yeah,
spin
we're
around in
not-
your next album. But, it's just
like that's a mess. Okay, like I saw the glitter glove, and I'm like, did Drake show up in the deleted scenes for Michael at the theater? Like, was he popping up after the credits? Like, yes, the future is me.
Thanos.
Yeah, he just walks through a portal and is like, yeah, that's right, Mike. You'll see more of me. You won't though, but you'll see it somehow. And then just walks back in because I was very confused about why we're getting glitter going, but it's fine. All right, sparkly.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to sparkle too. You know, like Twilight. It's gonna work out.
Yeah, and then there's lastly Habibti, which the album cover to this one is a little more confusing. It's, as I mentioned, a miscellaneous woman, but there's like tape over the picture, so it looks like it's just framing her eyes. It almost looks like it's supposed to be referencing like a hijab, since the fucking album is called Habibti, which I don't even know where you start there. Yeah, 3 albums. I've listened to Iceman and Habibti in full. Neither of them were very good. I guess the best one would be Iceman. That's like the main one, the one that it's actually like an album. And here's the thing: there's so many of the songs just feel the same in a way that it's like there's just a lot of the same, like, remember when you turned your back on the boy, I didn't forget, I'm in Toronto, blah blah blah. Like we're still doing like, yeah, we're just still doing like the everyone betrayed me bars, or y'all switched up on me bars, and it's like, bro, you gotta like let that go, man, and like move on, do something different, something interesting.
No, we ain't got time for that. It's Game of Thrones, yo. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly, literally. And it's just so
House of the Dragon. I'm dragging you.
something you would say.
Yes.
Something you would say. Actually, you just reminded me. I actually saved a couple lines that I wrote down.
Oh boy. Okay.
You know, Shack News is a video game website, first and foremost, of course.
Yes.
So I want to call out a line on the song "Shebang," which he said, "What kind of Switch? Not Nintendo." There you
Wow.
go.
Okay.
So-
All right. We're start. The bar is it's clearly high right now with that one. Okay.
So that was a good. That was the one video game bar that I clocked. And then of course we've got Burning Bridges. He said, "This isn't a video game bar, but it was just so silly that I had to write it down because I laughed. I heard it and I laughed to myself sitting in my room." He said, "I'm with Noel like I'm Kris Kringle," which, you know, as a kid who watched a lot of those stop motion Christmas specials, like, you know, Santa Claus is coming to town, whatnot.
Yes.
Here in Kris Kringle bars in 2026.
I wish that Santa Claus brought this man some more talent and brought that in a fucking gift box and wrapped it. All right.
That made me laugh. But yeah, I mean, look, so Iceman it's an 18-song album. I think there were like 2 songs that I listened to that I was like, okay, I'll listen to this again, or I'd put that on like a rap playlist. But 2 for 18 is a pretty poor shot percentage. That's like
that average is
James Harden
definitely
Game 7 numbers.
not the James Harden shot. You just sneak that in there for awesome. Here we go.
Which, hey, James Harden actually played pretty well last game, but I had to.
Well, you just jinxed it, so it won't now. So cool.
Yeah, he's playing tonight. We'll see. Yeah, and look, here's the thing. One thing that's always pretty consistent with Drake albums is productions. He's got a fucking legion of producers that he employs on his music. And some good productions. Song Shebang has a good beat to it. I forget who they said did that one. I'm assuming 40s on a lot of this. It's got like a production to it. It's like a polish. Interesting features. He has a song here, Denny, called "Ran to Atlanta," that features Future, which is obviously a nod to the Kendrick Lamar lyric, "You run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars." Obviously,
Clearly that stuck with him quite hard, you know.
It clearly stuck with him. Apparently, Future and him reconciled. I didn't know this. I thought they were still on bad terms, but Future's featured. He's on the song, which I saw somebody say. They were like, I think the real winner of the Drake Kendrick feud was Future.
You know, and I got a button for that.
Sensational.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. It's like the Always Sunny meme where he's like, I'm playing both sides, that way I always come out on top.
Hey.
Hey, you know what? Future, decent verse on that song for what it's worth. Drake, not so much. And neither is whoever the hell else is on that song. I can't even tell who this was. Molly something.
My man said Future won, but everybody else there on that track, not so much. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, it's the same way I felt about pretty much every Drake album since like Scorpion at this point. Maybe everything after More Life, which was almost 10 years ago, where it's just like messy, unfocused, very samey, bloated is probably the right word. Every album he's put out since goddamn 2018, you could remove at minimum like 8 songs from, and they probably feel more complete and focused. But yeah, just messy. It's been such a strange career trajectory to watch because I obviously grew up in the 2010s during Drake's like prime of popularity. It was such a like pivotal artist, him, J. Cole, Kendrick, when I was in high school, middle school. I remember listening to headlines on my iPod Shuffle that didn't even have a screen on it.
This man said iPod Shuffle, yeah. You were...
Just to watch like the image and quality just go like on a steady decline over the past decades, but fascinating to watch. This has been so strange.
I mean, it's a different time, you know, especially since like when I think of Drake, this man was on Degrassi. So like everyone's like, oh, well, what's his name from Degrassi? He's rapping. This man was dropping mixtapes. All right, back when we were seeing him, it was like, oh, okay, well, you know, this ain't bad.
So far gone.
Yeah, it's like, you know, things made a transition, and now, you know, he's got glitter gloves on. I'm confused, but it's fine.
Now he's wearing Michael Jackson glove and.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to hit the spin move, you know, and Trey Songz to come out and they do another collab, you know. Like that's what I'm expecting to happen next, but it's fine.
I would pay to see Drake try to do the Michael Jackson spin 3 times and then do the toe lean or whatever in one fluid motion. He would probably fall off a stage trying to do that.
Right, but he'll have the fur coat on, so then it'll be even funnier.
Like a
The folks
parachute.
in the ski mask behind him and like the line dance, like yeah.
Yeah. Also, I have seen the theory because there obviously when he announced like 2 hours before midnight that there were 3 albums, not one. There was theories that like he was doing this to get out of his like record deal with Universal Music Group because obviously he's been in legal trouble with them because he tried to sue over the streams of like Not Like Us and whatnot. So he's been with I think it was actually a bar on one of these songs. I forget which one where he's like, "I'll take on you, I'll take on the label, blah blah blah." So I've seen the theory of people like, "Oh, he pushed out three just so he could like fulfill whatever the obligation was," because a lot of the contracts are
Oh,
structured
okay.
by album numbers. So maybe it was like this is just so he could fulfill his whatever and then get out of the contract. Which maybe I don't know actually know the details of his
I mean, that
contract. So
would be
it's
interesting.
speculation.
You know,
But,
if he was just throwing together a bunch of trash so he can make some other moves happen. But yeah, like record labels are like they are gonna put you in a death lock
oh yeah,
on that album side. Okay.
many artists fall victim to that. But yeah, overall, just not the most exciting piece of music here. And if the timeline has been any indication, kind of getting slam dunked on by the internet at large.
I also feel like it's weird to drop the album when he does. Like are you planning for this to be like full of summer bangers or like when you've been dropping all this like the ski mask energy and stuff like that? And I feel like won't this be the kind of thing you drop in the fall or winter and then like it just kills?
Yeah,
And
that's a
then
good
you
point.
like
And again, another. Yeah, no, you're right. Somebody else said that too. Where it was like, someone was like, "Where are the like summer hits at?" Like even when like Drake's been like falling off, he'll still give you like a one dance or something like something that's gonna like get played at a cookout. That at least people will be
yeah.
like, "Hey," but that's like not even here. That's like, what's the point, man? It's about to be June.
Yeah, like when Kenny dropped, like there were still bangers around it.
Oh yeah.
You could
Yeah.
play anytime, any time of day, any time of year. But like all I kept seeing was like with Ski Mask Drizzy, and then we're getting some like last winter or something like that, and then it didn't drop. And now was hitting towards June and July, and it's like this man got three albums and it ain't hit him like that. You can't play in the Maserati.
Yeah, I just really wonder what has to be next for this this guy as an artist. He says on one of the songs that he's almost 40, or that he is 40, I forget. And I'm just like, you gotta figure something out, man. It might be time to take a extended break.
He can go talk to
multiple
Braun or
years,
something,
maybe.
but I think he dissed him too. So
Oh yeah, there's some Braun. This is in here too. He says something 23andMe. I forget what the line goes. Don't ask what's going on with 23andMe. Blah blah blah. Then he says it's something about you always made your career off switching teams.
really, bro,
Braun.
we're going there. Okay. You got way too much time on your hands, bro. It's time to finish. Like he's gotta.
He's still upset. LeBron went to the pop out and danced to Not Like Us. Yeah. So there you go.
So someone's got too much time on their hands. They're in the basement just crying. That's.
No.
You need to take a nice little extended vacation for a bit, man.
Yeah, but that's your Iceman digest. That's everything Drake did last night on those albums. So yeah, probably won't be talking about new Drake music for a while, which might be a blessing.
We'll take that as a W.
On the brighter side, we got some film and TV news. Matt Reeves, kind of one of the last people using social media in a fun and exciting way in 2026. We've had a lot of rumors about the Batman Part 2 casting. We've had a lot of reports. And over the last couple days, he tweeted like 20 different times just gifs of characters from the Batman 1 and other movies to announce them being cast. So it started with Robert Pattinson. He said, "We meet again, my friend. See Batman." Then he tweeted a gif of Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. Said, "Here we go again." He confirmed that Colin Farrell will be back as Penguin, Andy Serkis as Alfred, Jamie Lawson back as the mayor. Let me go some more. But then he started confirming new people. Sebastian Stan most known as being Bucky, in Marvel movies,
Big
the Winter
Bucky,
Soldier
yeah.
himself. Then a fellow Marvel OG, Scarlett Johansson, he posted "Next Exit Gotham, welcome." So again, Scarlett Johansson in this. Two people we already knew, but this is like the final confirmation, which is cool to have.
Yeah.
Um, he announced also that what's his? Why am I drawing a blank on Paperboy in Atlanta? Brian Tyree Henry is going to be in this as well, which is really cool. So yeah, we knew last week he had the first images like from on-set camera tests, but we're finally off there. We got a full cast for the Batman 2.
Yeah, there's been some quality W's happening there. Obviously we got Mr. Lannister in there, doing his thing. I feel like this is definitely, the cast is stacked, obviously. But I think they're showing up because Matt Reeves is putting on like he is. Like it's been, folks were definitely impressed by the last film. And like I feel like bits and pieces of this are coming together as far as like potentially like what the actual plot might look like. We got some conversation from some of the cast members as well about like after reading the recent script and such, and they're obviously shooting right now and that kind of thing. But like a lot of folks are like he's taking some swings with this one. It's going to be like a massive hit, or it might land in between, but at least he's taking the risk. So usually like you got to be a confident director to make that work. A lot of times, like when I hear that kind of conversation happening from directors, I'm like, I'm trying to make something the fans would be proud of, and it's usually like, okay, like, all right, sure, we have a creative vision, but no, Matt Reeves, like he speaks like he knows what movie he wants to make, and that in itself gives it confidence, and like it makes me more excited for like what he actually pulled out with this movie. But yeah, quality casting happening here, and like we know of your boy Bucky playing Harvey Dent and such.
I think he's so good. He's such a good pick for Harvey Dent.
Yeah, like he fits that perfectly to be able to pull off those kind of side of things. But people have spoke on more so like where things are gonna go with like the fall of Harvey Dent in comparison. Since the Dark Knight and stuff like that had what kind of elements be a thing. But it's like it's a crucial part of like the Batman kind of mythos to a certain extent, because Harvey Dent falling is when Batman stops trusting the system even more than before. Before you have like you're going to jail and such, but just kind of like when you saw in The Dark Knight to a certain extent, him saying like you were the best of us, and now you're not. So Batman started developing trust issues after that point, even further than he did before, and it makes him look even more like a madman at times. So I'm curious to see like how deep they go down that rabbit hole with Bats getting even more paranoid. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait. I hope this movie's like 3 hours long, just like the first one was. Been waiting so long.
That kind of cast, yeah. I want them to chew up all the scenes. Give me that.
Yeah.
Give me all that time with everybody.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies of the 2020s. One of my brother's favorite movies of all time, The Batman. My brother, who does not go to the movies much, but he watched this like 3 times on his own when it came to streaming. He loves The Batman. He was like humming Nirvana for like months after he saw it. So yeah, I'm excited for the sequel to this movie. Another, I guess, kind of superhero adjacent, at least comic book adjacent story. I never heard of this comic, Danny, or graphic novel, if you will. But Sex Criminals is getting an Amazon series adaptation. And just to explain the title off the top, essentially, it is about a couple who rob banks using their superpower, which is time stops whenever they have sex. So there you go.
There's special abilities involved. Yes, there's things that are happening.
Yeah, that's their special abilities, and then so they announced the show, but then
you know what, Donovan? Actually, now that I think about it, I think.
I think you have a
I
copy.
I have that right here. Yes, that is.
Whoa!
That is indeed
you're hip.
That's indeed the Sex Criminals. Yes, you can't show all the pages, but it's got an interesting art style. There are some titties, but
is that the entire run? What you're holding there?
Yes, it is. It is well, not the entire run, but it is like the entire like first volume. I have like second and third too. But yeah, it's definitely quality. I believe that the second chapter was like called like "Come Now" or something like that. Yes, there's yes, "Come World." Yeah, there we go. So yes, there's definitely quality stuff happening in this book.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those. And you were one of them when they announced. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that's a good story, like to adapt." So it's a unique idea. Look, people always complain that Hollywood's not doing anything original. I never heard some shit like this.
Yeah,
I
Matt
might even
Fraction
read it.
definitely has some. He's got some chops. I mean, he's known for a lot of different projects, but he was really big on kind of bringing the Fantastic Four back to a certain extent on the comic end. So yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing on that side. And someone else who knows what they're doing too is Nina Costa, who's directing this project.
This is what really got me excited for this because they announced this like 2 days after the show. They said Nita Costa's going to direct the show, and I'm like, well, now we're cooking. Now we got like a visionary behind the camera because Nita Costa's great. Most recently, she did the sequel to 28 Years. She did The Bone Temple, which I thought was very good. Just as a director, got a great eye. Obviously, she did the Candyman reboot in like 2020, 2021. That might have been.
Yeah.
Love Nita Costa.
Yeah, I want her to get a win, man, like a major one. She puts so much like energy and passion into the projects she attaches herself to, and it's like she works with these things that also like are involved with other people too, and it's like, man, can we get that knockout of the park situation for her? Like obviously like we like some of the stuff that she does, and Candyman was a bit divisive, but it also was a situation that will like. You're trying to bring back like a classic to a certain extent, and then making it part of like where it's happening. Chicago and stuff too was a big deal to me, and like she makes things look amazing. Like her shots in different films and projects are like they're gorgeous, and I feel like this might be the one that kind of takes it over the finish line for her and becomes like iconic.
It's something that she can really put her own stamp on, right?
Yeah.
Because like I think she's done a lot of work, but something that has kind of gone against her over the years is that she keeps working on IP, and specifically IP that people have very strong feelings about one way or another, right? Where her last movie was 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, right? She was doing a sequel. She was stepping into like the Danny Boyle, Alex Garland franchise, right? Where they were like the guys. They made the original. They did the reboot. So you're already fighting, a little bit of a losing battle stepping into those shoes. And then even before that, The Marvels. She directed the sequel to Captain Marvel, one of the most like I thought Captain Marvel was good, but one of the most like dragged movies like in the internet discourse and whatnot. It just had so much baggage going into the sequel. It's in the like era where everybody is cynical about Marvel stuff, so it's hard for anyone to be like hyped for her movie, even though I thought she did a good job with it. And then even Candyman, where I liked Candyman a lot, but even a lot of people were like, hey, we're tired of these like horror modern reimaginings, where it just feels like even when she's doing good work, it's like the projects are bigger than her in a way.
Yeah, like she's like they're putting it on her because they feel confident she's gonna pull off something that it's legitimately quality, but it's also like this level of ambition there, and then also like she's being tied to different projects, like you're saying that like it might be a bit bigger than her because of the fan bases involved, but it's also like I'm hoping that this leads to her being able to like work on a project that she truly wants to make happen from beginning to end, from behind the scenes and behind the screen, the passion side, because I can definitely feel the passion that she brings into things, regardless of like how the fans approach things. And so hoping she gets the win here at this one. Looking forward to seeing what happens with Sex Criminals. There's definitely plenty of mileage that you can get out of this one as far as like a storyline and stuff like that.
She'll have her opportunity to put her own like stamp on it, right? Nothing to compare it to. There's no original version that people will be like, we prefer that. So very excited to see that. And I think I'm actually going to pick up the graphic novel before it comes out. Danny, this next one gave me a good laugh when I saw it because a Fast and Furious TV show is in the works at Peacock with Vin Diesel executive producing. And this is so funny. This is so funny because Vin Diesel does what he always does, where he gets on stage and it's the NBC Universal upfront. We talked about the Disney upfront earlier. This is Universal's. Vin Diesel gets on stage and he's like, we're doing 4 Fast and Furious TV shows. And then NBC is immediately like,
get that shit out of here.
There's one show in the works. We don't know why the hell Vin said that, when Vin Diesel just like saying shit, just trying to will stuff into existence, like he's just the president of entertainment. It's so funny to me. But they're making a Fast and Furious TV show with Peacock. He is going to executive produce. Denny, we're 10 movies, 11 if you include the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw, into the Fast and Furious franchise. They still owe us another movie. I saw people be like, "Hey Vin, don't you have another Fast movie you got to figure out?"
I don't need you to say "oh," okay? So I don't want that. Don't like, owe us another movie. All right, how about you pay us back over our time? Okay.
The last one was like broken up into two. Fast X was supposed to be like one final thing, and they're like, "This movie's too big. We need two," and then it has the cliffhanger ending. So it's like, you know, what would you want from a Fast and the Furious show? Do you want to see Letty and Dom and whoever the hell they call Ludacris's character, like going around and doing stuff? Like, what do you?
What do I want from a Fast and the Furious TV show? I want John Wick to show up and just start shooting people. Okay, can we get like just end this shit now? All right. We know that Vinny won't want it to happen. All right, Vin Diesel wants to keep this shit running as long as possible. Okay, so he's not the one with the in the right mind. All right, to let this die. So please, can we let this die? All right, I don't want to be around here with my grandchildren saying, "Oh, do you remember Fast and the Furious 16? That was my favorite one." And then you're just like, bruh, all right. Why is this still going? Can we, like, please? All right, we start spreading into TV spinoffs and such. All right, because Peacock clearly needs content. So I understand. All right, why it's happening, but still, like, all right, let this shit die. Okay, I don't need The Rock popping up, in Fast and the Furious 12 to tie into, the TV show and say, if you like watch more to find out what's happening before. No, okay, no more of that. All right, you're gonna start seeing Benny and the boys popping up in 4 to 7 or some shit. All right, whipping around on dragon, hitting for Akira slides, and I don't want any of that. All right, we're going on a dangerous path here. All right, what I want from a Fast and Furious TV series? I wanted to turn into a full on horror slasher. Okay, give me somebody just pulling over. All right, running over the cast of cars. Okay. And saying you did this, give me like the full Jigsaw voice. All right, game over, and then just
whoa.
Like
you might have just stumbled upon something genius there. A Saw movie, but the cast is just the Fast and the Furious crew.
Yes,
it's just Dom and Letty and Tyrese and Ludacris.
I like show me someone behind the scenes who just like I've been forced to work on these movies for 12 years. All right, they won't stop until I make it stop. And then they're just like going behind the scenes, all right, and taking out the cast. All right.
Yeah, Jigsaw's just Justin Lin at the end. He takes the mask off.
I told you to stop, and you wouldn't stop. Like, yes, all right.
I don't blame you. I think, I have a buddy who's like in love with these movies. He's part of the hashtag family.
Oh, God.
He's ready for it to end, but he does love Fast and Furious. And I asked him what he wants from this. He said that he wanted it to go back to street level. Give him like a Too Fast, Too Furious, like street racing sort of movie. Or not movie, but show. Where it is like people in LA racing, trying to make money off of racing. And like that's like the story. And make it new characters. And you could tie it in, maybe someone shows up, but make it like just a show about street racers essentially.
So basically, he wants a Creed version to happen, basically, or like we're getting back to the basics.
I mean, isn't that like the end game though of this franchise? Is doing the Creed thing where it's just like back to basics, fundamentals, younger generation cast. Like that's the end game here, one way or another, whether it be in TV or film.
Right, you're gonna have somebody just like some 21-year-old kid, looking through his windshield, and then there's just Vin Diesel in the back, doing the wink. And then like pulls off. Yes. Okay.
Oh yeah, he'll drive the muscle car. I forget what kind of car Dom drives, but he'll have the one with the engine that sits out. It could be cinema.
Cinema. That's right, everyone. Family. Ohana.
Family
means family. Yeah, you're gonna have to. What's gonna happen though is that they're gonna reach a point where like this morphs into a situation that Tom Cruise wants to be involved in. We're gonna get all the practical effects going. And they're gonna have cars flying out of planes again, but one's got Tom in it, and he's like the main villain for for one of these movies? Get Tom Cruise involved, you know, and Ben's like, I'm gonna stop you, Tom. And he's like, nothing can stop me.
I mean, Tom Cruise would be the most interesting thing to happen in a Fast and Furious movie since maybe Tokyo Drift, maybe ever, just in any of the movies.
I did see a little side thing about like the one actor from Tokyo Drift and how he was basically on the posters and stuff for the movie and everything else, but was still working as a waiter at the same time because that's how Hollywood is. Like there wasn't a big break happening yet. And he's like, hey, I saw myself on the billboards and all the posters and stuff, and I was still like clocking in at the diner down the street. I'm like, damn.
That's rough. All the money went to Bow Wow. You know? Shame.
All right, you forced me to talk about this, so we're gonna just all right. Lock up Donovan, please.
I just thought you'd be over the moon with excitement about a Fast and Furious TV show.
Yeah, I'm over the moon, all right.
You know. You ever see Hobbs and Shaw?
I saw parts of Hobbs and Shaw, but not by choice.
The Rock and Jason Statham. That was a fever dream of a movie experience. The movie had Idris Elba and like Charlize Theron. I don't know what the hell's going on in that movie. Speaking of Charlize Theron, I think she's in the Odyssey. Everyone's in the Odyssey. It's got like 100 people in this movie. We begin some casting announcements, and not casting announcements, but like role announcements. We've known for like years now. A lot of people are in this movie, but now we're learning who's playing who. And a part of that was that we learned Lupita Nyong'o is going to be playing Helen of Troy. Zendaya is going to be Athena, I think they said. But something as we've seen many times again on the internet, Denny, after they announced who these people, who these like actors will be playing, the people in Greek mythology, there's a lot of backlash from a certain kind of crowd on the internet.
Surprise, surprise. Yeah, people are idiots. But yes, there was some backlash involved because people are indeed stupid. But yes, Lupita was involved in, you know, reportedly playing Helen of Troy, and then there was talks about Zendaya being involved and stuff like that. And I think and people don't seem to understand that this is not historical. It is a work of fiction. I'm still confused about like people I keep seeing this conversation happening. Like I saw it on The View yesterday for the quick minute I turned my TV on, and folks were arguing like, you know, historical and blah blah blah, and like, do you see that part of history happening? And I'm like, this is a fantasy. Do we not understand what this is? The Odyssey, one of the oldest fucking books possible, you somehow think is real. Like, am I missing something here?
The great works of fiction.
Like, yeah. I feel like
people have been so. The simple fact of the matter is, these people will never rest until these movies are predominantly white. That includes Elon Musk's bitch ass, who fucking commented on this as well. But it's like, again, I'm not gonna take credit for this because somebody else pointed it out. You guys realize that in 2023, Christopher Nolan won the Oscar for Best Picture and Best Director for Oppenheimer, a movie with an all-white cast. There's like 50 actors in that movie, and it is just white people from top to bottom in that film. And he won an Oscar for it. He's not baiting for an award by diversifying casting his movie. The man clearly has a vision for the Odyssey, a work of fiction that has existed for actual centuries.
Yes.
Centuries.
And they're treating it like it's some kind of historical biography or something. Like, they're casting, I can't believe. I'm like, isn't Matt Damon in this? Last I checked, he does not have the blood you're speaking about either. Okay? But you think it's gonna happen? This is not a thing. All right. People might be upset too when they find out about the actual freaking, you know, the musical score for this shit. All right, because Nolan also said that he's not gonna have an orchestral, you know, symphony score going on here because they didn't have the tools and instruments available at the time, so they're not actually using that for the film. So when people are like, oh, well, this doesn't feel as grand as I would like it to, you know, for treating these historical figures right, guess what? They're all fucking fictional. Odysseus is not real, all right? Helen of Troy and Athena, all right? And Zeus and the gods, all right? They're not fucking real. So get that shit under your. It blows my mind that they're feeling like this is actually going to be something they just pick up your pitchforks, guys. They're treating our historical figures wrong. All right, for a fucking book that's been out so long that they've got complete, literature classes on it, and yet you guys don't read books, so you don't understand what the fuck is happening. Like really, guys.
Yeah.
Incredible.
No.
Like,
really, man,
and then Elon's dumbass too. Like, come on, all right. He had a fucking nerve to say anything about like, there's no way that Lupita can be the most beautiful woman in the world, and we got Elliot Page potentially, playing Achilles. What is the world coming to? Elon, I don't trust your taste on anyone. And first off, all right,
No.
you big racist ass. But in general, all right. Why are you spending time commenting on this shit and not like, I don't know, fixing your fucking company? But hey, you got time for commentary on this. Fuck off. Like, Lupita is gorgeous, first off, all right? And if you met her in fucking person, I'm sure that, like, she would give you the biggest fucking pass ever. All right, just hit the spin move on your shit. All right? You're talking like you're in the same room and she would actually give you a fucking word. All right? It wouldn't happen. Want to be any? Oh, thank you, Elon. No. All right. If you even got your fucking hot breath near her face, she'd hit you with the face palm. Get the fuck away from me. All right. No, we're not like.
Nobody wants to be in close proximity to Elon Musk.
No, I'm sure he smells like fucking rotten raisins and shit. All right. I have no time for that.
Just people have just been so bizarre about this movie. Even like the people were like criticized like the armor and shit, say it was like inaccurate, and it was like, just shut the fuck up, everybody. Just everybody shut the hell up. As a matter of fact, don't go watch the movie. Let everybody who enjoys movies and entertainment and isn't brain poison go enjoy it. Did you see the Christopher Nolan quote where he was on late night and he was talking about Travis Scott, because Travis Scott's in this movie too, who he's worked with like before. Travis Scott did a song for Tenet, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But he said, here's a quote from Christopher Nolan on Travis Scott. I cast him because I wanted to nod towards the idea that this story has been handed down as oral poetry, which is analogous to rap.
Oh yeah, okay, I did read that, yeah.
So there you go. There you go, Christopher Nolan. Because there's a scene, you can see Travis Scott, one of the trailers, where he's like talking to a group of people. He's like, a war! And I was like, is that fucking Travis Scott? Yeah.
I'm down with some battles.
Coming soon. Yeah, it's going to be July, end of July this movie comes out. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, this should be epic.
But just absolutely classic. And also, I didn't know that there was a rumor Elliot Page is playing Achilles. That's fucking sick. I hope that's true too. Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah, and of course, they're like freaking out and the woke what? Like, all right, guys. All right, yes. I'm glad you're very upset. Don't go see the film. All right, I'm sure you can go, watch Elon pickling out of his ass for a bit and find that entertaining. Go have fun.
Oh gosh. And then moving along here to one that you mentioned, FKA Twigs is gonna play Josephine Baker in a biopic. This is interesting. Whenever people do whenever we get like biopic announcements, I'm always like, oh, let me look this person up or see like what the original artist looks like. She does kind of look like Josephine Baker, for what it's worth. She has the look for it, if nothing else.
Twigs is signed on to basically play Josephine Baker in this project. And at first I'm like, okay, like she's got the chops when it comes to the actual musical end. She'd be able to perform, and give that side of things justice when it comes to that into the performance. Has she been much of an actress? Not so much, which is also going to be a major part of doing a project like this justice. Also, the reason why I brought this up and why I put it in here was because there's been an ongoing kind of, conversation happening with different folks across the industry and also just in general when it comes to audience goers. The, Black Americans are saying, hey, like, we're noticing a trend here where European and British actors or actresses are getting these roles over actual Americans across the board when it comes to presenting people that are able to tell that story in a way that makes sense. and it's become an ongoing
Drewski
trend.
skit
You know,
on
yeah,
this.
the Drewski skit and
That's
stuff. You know, that happened, and right on time, like, you know, like a week later, it's like, oh, well, here we go, another one. And that became a thing. So
Yeah.
I think there is some truth to that right now. Like, especially when you come to situations where opportunities are there for some people to step up and be able to give these roles justice, who also have the shared experience, or, like, you know some of that from a storyline perspective, and also are actresses like, who are also performers and can perform when it comes to, like, playing the other parts of this role. Obviously, having a big name, you know, to the project brings in more, you know, potential, you know, audience and stuff like that, which I understand. And, you know, producers want to get that part of things down. And, you know, I like Twigs. I think that she has a lot of, you know, room. I loved her Coachella performance recently. She was killing it. But I can't ignore what people are saying on the other end when they're like, hey, you know, this woman was from St. Louis. Like, can we get some folks that may understand what a St. Louis is, or that area, or anywhere near the Midwest, and make that part of this story too, and work with, like, historians and that kind of thing, and have that kind of thing be a part of this project as well. So I want to bring some attention to that, just saying, you know, I think there's truth to that, especially in this situation where you have someone who's not a trained actress or hasn't been in any kind of projects like that. We want to see folks that we see as pivotal parts of, you know, Black American history get the kind of light shine on them that they should. There's elements that won't be involved in being on stage. I mean, this woman had a multifaceted life across the board. So I'm still hoping that, you know, this is something that can shed some positive light on her life and history. But at the same time, I'm seeing plenty of folks saying, hey, if we're sick of this, we're going to boycott it. And best believe when black folks in the Black experience decide they're not going to go see something, they'll let everybody know, and word spreads very quickly, and then you're wondering, like, which can have the adverse effect, where, like, you get this kind of story, you know, that kind of time and light of day, and then it bombs, and then folks are like, we're going to stop doing this now. Stop picking these, you know, these Black folks to write, you know, to put stories together for, like, you know, to put these kind of, you know, things out, expecting, like, you know, a Michael to happen. And you see they didn't show up for this product, didn't show up for this movie. And it's like, there's a clear reason why they're not showing up for this movie. Looking at things a bit further than that. So there's a double-edged sword happening here in different ways. And I feel like they might be setting her up to fail here. Like, honestly, based off of, but at the same time, yes, I understand that the internet and Twitter and, you know, Blue Sky and stuff like that are not the same as your average moviegoers. And there's always more conversation happening on the internet about, you know, the movies and stuff like that too. But I have seen it be effective when it comes to, like, people just not showing up for this kind of thing in comparison. We've seen the opposite effect happen with, like, folks like Michael, because Jafar he's not a trained actor either. But you know, pulled off the performance, I guess, to a certain extent. So we'll have to wait and see. But I wanted to bring that to, you know, the attention for folks.
Yeah. And I think the casting itself is such a interesting discussion point, but even just biopics in general are in such a weird place now, because you mentioned Michael, which is going to be one of the highest earning movies of the year, but also just, like, pretty universally panned, you know? So it's another one of those big movies that has such a huge disconnect between critics and audiences.
Yeah.
And you zoom out, what was the last big biopic that was, like, beloved, that people were like, wow, this is great? I guess Oppenheimer technically is a biopic, but when it comes to, like, artists or musicians, you know,
Yeah.
it's really hard, and it never really comes off as genuine or earnest. They always end up feeling more like just jukebox musicals. They're just playing the hits or something like that. We've in the last couple of years, we've had Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen get movies that just kind of came and went with, like, pretty famous people in them. You had Timothy Chalamet. I think you had my boy Jeremy Allen White from The Bear.
Yeah.
Like, these things aren't hitting. I guess Bohemian Rhapsody people also didn't like. I thought it was fun. That movie was also pretty panned. I guess Rami Malek won the Oscar for that when he played Freddie Mercury.
You see a lot of people
Butler
also
Elvis.
like, like you see a lot more commentary from like the celebrities or like the folks that grew up with those people or like, other artists and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, I can tell you a story about so and so when we got to a lot more of those start popping up and like, get some traction compared to like the actual films at times too. We're like, well, this wasn't true because the way they shot this and that didn't happen that way. And it's like, yes, we took some creative liberty because you guys wouldn't talk to us before. So we did some of that ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like there hasn't been as much of that happening in comparison, and actually like critics also enjoy to the point of like I said, the biopics are tough in general, but it's definitely tough on the musical end because we got to get into performing and like actually like making it look realistic on stage and that kind of stuff. It can really hit or it can really not hit. It can go either way real quickly. So yeah, you're right for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what it is. I personally actually don't know much about Josephine Baker, so I won't go into this with like a ton of expectations, but could be interesting. FK Twigs has like dabbled in acting. She's been in a couple of things, smaller roles. She was in the Anne Hathaway movie Mother Mary this year, which is about a musician.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about that one.
Yeah, she's been in some stuff, but this will be probably her biggest role to date.
Yeah, when you're movie lead, when you're all over the posters and everything else there, and every scene is getting dissected, it's a whole different kind of story involved there. Like I don't think it's gonna be a situation where we're getting like Flex Washington and like the Michael Jackson story. All right, it's not gonna be that kind of scenario, but at the same time, like folks want to see themselves represented by like folks that represent them as well. And this isn't a situation like like the one we just talked about with the Odyssey, since there is a real person here, real history involved, a real city involved as well, and things like that in comparison. So representation is important.
Yeah, 100%. And our next story here, speaking of representation, a classic in that field, A Different World, is coming back. We already knew it was coming back, but they've now wrapped production on the sequel series for A Different World, just coming to Netflix later this year, coming this fall specifically. It's gonna have Method Man, AJ Sanders, Karen Molina White, and Norman Nixon Jr. in the main roles. We're going back to Hillman. Denny, I'm curious, what's the temperature check on this? You looking forward to this? Do you think this is a good idea? How do we feel about A Different World in 2026?
I think that this could actually work because I feel like there is a space for it right now if they let it be authentic in a way that like it actually lands the way it should. At the same time, they don't have as much holding them back to a certain extent when it's Netflix compared to like an actual TV series on regular TV and that kind of thing. They maybe get a little bit more edgy with the comedy and stuff like that on this end. But at the same time, it's Netflix. So if it's not doing well enough for them, they will just wipe it out after one season. But I think there's room here to make something work, and grow from that. Like they did show the returning cast members as well, which is also fairly lengthy on this end. I think I can pull up some of those too. I had it on a different setup, but there's some folks returning. Like Jasmine Guy will be showing back again. Kadeem Harrison, Daryl M. Bell, Cree Summer, obviously a big name in voice acting now and such too. Jennifer Lewis. So like they got plenty of the returning cast coming back for this one as well. So there will be a level of authenticity showing up there, which I think will definitely help this one out with that kind of like passing the torch for it and that kind of thing. So there's definitely, I think this one can actually work. It just is going to take having the right kind of creative involved, making sure that, they hit a sweet spot with both the comedic side and some of the drama, which the real show had, and what it feels like to be a college student in 2026, 2027, that kind of thing, which I feel like there is still a pretty big gap for a lot of that kind of stuff you see more in reality TV. Are folks on Twitch and YouTube. So I feel like if you can kind of like make that work in a structured situation, it could be interesting. You saw something like energy with like Gen V, for example. obviously a different type of show, but also
Fair.
just like I think there are like people wanting to kind of watch some of that happen, and there's ways you can market this too that could be a lot of fun with the folks involved.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be interesting. It's going to so the show it's gonna follow a new character, but she's like the daughter of Whitley and Dwayne
Yeah,
from the original, and they've got Jasmine Guy and Kadeem Hardison are coming back to play Whitley and Dwayne. And they say in this post it's gonna be 10 episodes, 30-minute episodes each, which is like sitcom length. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm down with that. 10 half-hour episodes. And yeah, like you said, 21st Century Campus, HBCU campus, which adds another
a
layer
big
to it,
one.
of
Yes.
course. Yeah, I'm so curious to see how this plays because obviously a different world was so steeped in like 80s and 90s culture, and we've come very far. It's quite different these days than it was back then, even just at HBCUs. So I'm curious to see what the show looks like, feels like. Will it be like a nostalgic throwback? Are they going to lean really hard into the modern side of things? It's always a question with these legacy shows, but could be interesting. My parents are going to be hyped for this. They love. They were big into A Different World when it was airing.
Yeah, there's space for this to like really kind of take off because of like the generational side of things. Like we don't have a Martin or Living Single and stuff anymore. So like making this a situation where like, yeah, this is Hillman Pride. You got an HBCU involved and stuff like that. And then think about like, I think of like sitcoms. I think about stuff like the guest appearances and stuff like that too. Who can pop up on campus?
Yeah.
If you get some musical performances and stuff like that too. Like this could be like one of those that like really becomes something that could like you can get your entire family to sit around and watch. And that in itself, like we need more of.
Yeah. I just noticed too this picture that they put up of the glasses. That's good.
Welcome back to Hillman.
Yeah, that'll be good. And they've got a full cast list on here. They've got Jada Pinkett Smith popping up in this thing. Yeah, they're going all out. It'll be interesting. Netflix needs some good original shows, and we, like you said, are starving for black sitcoms. So I will be for sure tuning into this at the very least, seeing what I think of it. Denny, we have been talking a lot recently about horror, specifically adaptations. We have The Backrooms coming out in a couple of weeks, which is technically an adaptation of like a internet creepypasta and YouTube series, but also was a video game, very popular on Steam. We have Resident Evil, which just got its first trailer a couple weeks back. That's coming out later this year. And with that, we have a question of the week, which is simply, what is a horror video game that you want to see get the movie treatment? We've had so many in recent years. Exit 8 just came out. I think it's actually on streaming now. We had Until Dawn last year, which was, by many accounts, not a great movie, but it was a movie nonetheless. And shares the title of a popular video game. So I think it's an interesting question. There's a lot of ways to go with it. I just finished playing Directive 8020, which is the newest game from the people who made Until Dawn. Would not want a Directive 8020 movie, although I like the game. I think The Quarry would be an interesting game or movie, which is their previous big video game from 2022. What about you? Have anything specific in the horror field that they haven't gotten to yet? Because at this point, it feels like they've done so much.
Yeah, there's quite a few, but yeah, like if asking like if if there's a horror game project I'd like to see happening. I know we brought up like stuff like that they're making like a BioShock thing happen relatively. A few other things going down as well. But like, I think of like kind of horror I'd be into, and then like elements of that like actually working on film, and then it would be interesting to do. I think of something like I kind of lean more towards maybe like some Japanese horror, like a new Fatal Frame project, having like an actual tie-in where like you've got the like some really cool looks through the actual camera and stuff like that would be interesting. Really, my number one answer is it's already been done before, but I mean a good film. And that would be freaking Silent Hill. Can I get like an actual Silent Hill movie that doesn't suck? I would love to see Silent Hill in a project that does not suck ass. Can we get like them legit making a project there that is like legit like following aspects of the game, or at least taking respect for the aspect of the game? If you're gonna go completely different from everything else and don't touch any of the game aspects when it comes to, Pyramid Head and such, like the same way that we're seeing like Resident Evil becoming into, turning into a thing where you've got like creepy, creatures and stuff like that, but they're more so in that universe, but they're not just straight up like popping up. But Leon, just no, okay. Can I get some of like Silent Hill energy and juice the town, but someone actually taking it in a direction like that makes sense for using the town and as an entity and stuff like that in a way that makes sense as well. Like, give me a project there with that kind of atmosphere and like that kind of like, what people are in the town for. It's usually not good things. Like, give me elements of that in a place that like works from both the creative standpoint, the actors involved with a decent cast. I would love to see that happen. Like, people always push for Silent Hill 2 and stuff, and we saw what Return to Silent Hill was. All right, like, if you're not gonna do that legitimately, then give me like at least a project that can work inside that realm and world. That's not just going to like take elements of what's already established and ruin them. Like, people still to this day think that like Silent Hill or the fog in Silent Hill was from Ash because of the first movie, where they've had to shoot that down multiple times. Like, no, motherfuckers, this was snow. There was not any ash falling down from the sky. All right, it was all completely made up. So please, can we get like more of that kind of energy towards like a new Silent Hill project, where it's like, if you're gonna take creative liberties with stuff, like leave it completely away from like elements of like what were established in a Silent Hill 2. Instead of saying, hey, Masahiro Ito's, designs are really cool. Let's not work with him directly to, make a new project happen with some interesting things. We're just going to completely rob them and just, like, I really love the idea of like practical effects and stuff like that being used for that kind of project. Like, that's something I did love from the first film, like the nurses and stuff, and like having the models, like, the knives and stuff like that. That was really cool. Like, elements of that could certainly work in a new project. But give me the other side of things where like you're following through on the story side of things, where you're giving me actual like legitimate story that makes sense and can involve some tragedy or like, some character development. Bring both elements of that, make it make sense. Make me want to think a bit harder about what I'm watching, the same way that, I do when I play the games. So yeah, Silent Hill. Let me see some stuff on the Silent Hill end that actually would make me want to dive into things, deeper. Say, hey, we're going a different direction with this, but we do want to like, we hope that after you watch this film that you want to go explore more of the world and that kind of stuff in the games. If you're not gonna like, just legitimately do them right, give them justice for like, a project. I don't need to see Heather popping up and, saying hi to James in the fucking movie. Okay, no, cut it out. But yes, that's my choice.
Yeah, I think that's you laid out a very good pitch for what a Silent Hill adaptation could be if it was good, because we've had several that were bad. Maybe Resident Evil coming out this year like lights a fire under a filmmaker or studio to do something new with it. Maybe that's the blueprint. Like you said, give us something original and new, instead of trying to tell the stories from the games and then failing dramatically. But Silent Hill could be good. I mean, the fucking games are terrifying, so you could just conjure a sliver of
those sounds you get like, Akira Mayaoka back to make the soundtrack happen and stuff like that. Like, there's plenty of ways to get like that same kind of vibe and feel and make it like have that kind of depth and like immersion without having to just milk for stuff that look visually interesting from the games and not play any actual detail or give respect to them in a way that makes sense.
Awesome. Of course, anyone let us know in the comments, or at least get us on socials and give us your answer for that. We're gonna shift into the sports world here, starting with some wrestling news. Danny, WWE's been cracking down on content creators using clips from WWE matches in their content. Obviously, for as long as there have been people that made a living off of YouTube videos and live streams, there have been DMCA takedowns and the risk of punishment for using content that you don't own, essentially. what's exactly going on here? Is this going to be a long-term issue? Is this like a weird fluky thing, or is this TKO and the WWE being villains once again for the millionth time?
So like, basically like there's a layer of things here. So WWE's they've hired another company to kind of strike different content from wrestling content creators and stuff like that. So of course, like you know, if you haven't noticed, pretty much everywhere when you're putting kind of like WWE content on, you know, even if it's reaction style content, a lot of times it gets flagged instantly for monetization, that kind of thing on your YouTube and such. But now they're basically cracking down harder on that kind of thing too. And since they can't necessarily do it all themselves, you know, this big company TKO, they're hiring other companies and to basically do more of that themselves, between like both, bot striking and legitimate humans just flowing through and searching by key items and key terms and that kind of thing to do it for them. Which means less of there being a creative option for folks to really get involved in the wrestling content side. And the thing that people brought up, you know, from the creative end is that, hey, like, you guys are totally cool with using us in your promoted content and like having like, oh my god, oh this I can't believe this happened, and then, you know, using that for your promotions when there's a major, you know, angle that happens on screen or during a pay-per-view and that kind of thing, or, you know, for your WWE 2K and such. But now we don't want us to do that, you know, directly on our own channels. It's fine to rip the content and pull it up, you know, and use for your promotions, but not when it's the other way around. And so, you know, a lot of people have gone around some of that by basically just running the, you know, show or your SmackDown and stuff in the background, and they'll, you know, only play the audio and they'll react to it live without the actual screen playing. And it sounds like WWE is trying to get a way around that as well. So basically just like killing off different parts of their community and creative, you know, community as well. And we've already seen some of this kind of crackdown happening the same way that like they were cracking down on bars for showing the pay-per-view and doing blackouts in entire cities like here in Chicago. Bars having to pay, you know, a fee and such just to be able to get the freaking the freaking pay-per-view to play in the bar. Like, guys, you got people wanting to pop up, you know, have a whole like, you know, bar sit down party to watch your wrestling and have a couple of drinks, and you're saying no? Like, why? Well, they're not all paying for it individually, so it's a problem for us. I'm like, so you got enough people and like, you know, excited about watching your pay-per-view that they're gonna meet up, they're gonna go outside. Here in Chicago, it's like we're gonna go outside in the middle of winter, in the middle of the snow, all right, to meet up with some folks together in a bar and watch this shit together as a group. We got a kind of commitment here, but you're gonna strike that down and make sure it doesn't happen, just so they can go watch it individually alone at the house. That sounds like a good way to like. Imagine if we did that for the fucking NFL. Imagine if you couldn't watch a football game in a bar. How stupid that would sound.
There. That might be on the way for us, unfortunately. Yeah, this sucks. It's such a like classic shooting yourself in the foot moment, because like these people are promoting your brand. So many people are done with WWE.
Yeah,
and these are like the handful of people that actually still want to make content about your shitty company and want to like use your clips and make more people aware of your brand. Even if maybe they're not always saying the nicest things about it, they're still talking about it. You would think the people running the WWE know, like anyone else in the world, that hey, all press is good press, or maybe not some of the press they get, I guess, but you know, any attention when you're running show business, you know, can be beneficial. So for them to do this just feels like they're just buying L's at this point. They're just like, people already hate us because we're cutting every wrestler that they like and we're platforming problematic people, but let's also shoot down the handful of people that are like,
the greed is crazy.
Still,
on top of, you know, laying off multiple wrestlers and such, you know, like the New Day we talked about last time, you know.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. Like if you want to be the big evil corporation, then I guess that's fine. But like, don't be surprised when you're not getting freaking WrestleMania sales that you're proud of either, when the tickets aren't coming in. And oh yeah, you know, you're having WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia next year too. So I mean, have fun there. But you know, if you can even get there, because we might run out of fuel before then. But yes, entire mess. Hi Slinky, you know, welcome onto the stream.
Yo, Legion, what's up? Needs to blank out their audience then. Hey, what's up? Yeah, it's always a hot mess over in the WWE world. And we got a lot of interesting sports stories to talk about: NBA lottery, NFL schedule release. Before we get into the exciting stuff, do want to acknowledge this week, on the same day, we lost two members of the NBA family. Jason Collins, who was the first NBA player to come out as gay, passed away after a battle with cancer this week. I believe he was 47, I think. Somewhere around there. He played for a few teams, the Nets being one of them. I saw Jason Kidd wrote a statement about him. Charles Barkley actually had some awesome words to say on Inside the NBA about his legacy, what he did for the NBA, kind of opening doors for queer people in sports, really. And then on that same day, Brandon Clark, who was on the current roster for the Minnesota Grizzlies, passed away. He was 29. Also very sad. I've seen videos and pictures of people leaving flowers at his next to the flag with his face on it outside the Grizzlies arena in Memphis.
Yeah.
Always just so sad when people pass away that young. And like you've got pulled up here, the San Antonio Spurs, who kind of, I think, hosted the first game after this news broke, did moment of silence for both Jason Collins and Brandon Clark before their game, which I thought was very commendable.
Yeah.
Sad story, stuff that does not happen super often in the space. So for kind of both of these to happen within hours of each other, just compounding sadness on a random weekday for the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely rest in peace to both men. And it is tragic to have, both lose their lives here. But at the same time, yeah, like the people I brought up as well, that even now, like there is still a stigma when it comes to, gay men in the league and stuff like that, especially in the NBA, and that being a thing. Yeah. And I would say also in, the black community and stuff like that too, despite there being, changes and some growth from different people. It's not always the case. And I do think that there's still plenty of work to be done, both from, we have advocates and stuff like that too. We have folks that speak up and who are part of the, LGBTQ community and stuff like that. But it needs to be more from folks in other communities too. More straight men and more folks who are willing to say, hey, like, there's nothing wrong with this. Also, like, sticking up for those kind of people. I remember some of my college years, folks were coming out and, ridiculous stuff was happening to them. Bullying, hazing and that kind of thing too early on. And I can't say that it's completely, gotten a ton better since then, with just some of the things I've seen happening between harassment and the way that people speak about these kind of things, especially in athletics. So it's definitely still a problem. But still, pretty brave for him to come out in the first place and say the things that he did. And I watched some of the stuff from inside the NBA and with the things that Charles had said and stuff like that too. Was pretty commendable. Obviously, you don't have to love someone's sports takes, but I definitely have to give him credit for what he had to say on the actual show.
Yeah, especially him being such a big figure in the space. I thought that was pretty cool of him. And yes, my friend Brent says in the chat here, Nets legend Jason Collins, RP. Yeah, that was an interesting team they had back then. That was right around the move from New York, or from New Jersey to Brooklyn.
Quite a time
over on that team. VC, Vince Carter was over there with them. At some point they crossed over. Or overlapped, I should say. And then to jump into some more lighter basketball news, Denny, they did the NBA draft lottery this week in your hometown of Chicago, as they do it every year. And
yes, sir.
Speaking of Chicago, how about those Bulls jumping up and getting the 4th pick?
Oh, yeah.
In the stacked 2026 NBA draft.
Look, we finally got some quality news. All right.
Let's go.
Like I was legit like, oh, is there still hope? Like,
Is there still hope?
what's because that's what I spoke on like a week or two ago how like folks are like we're not afraid to call it a rebuild when it is one, but at the same time it's like it's gonna have to be if shit keeps going the way it is.
Gonna be anything else.
And then I was like, oh man, think of like one of these shitty draft picks, and we just stuck here, man. Like, just a season I completely ignore. Like it's gonna be rough as hell. And then the number 4 drops in, and I'm like, oh yes, please, NBA,
like
save
light
us,
has shined.
save us, please. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's was such a shocker because obviously pre-draft they get into all the percentages, and I remember they were saying the Bulls. Like, mathematically, we're supposed to be at 9. That was like if you ran a simulator, they should be around like 9th pick. And then they had a 20% chance of moving up to the top 4. And I think it was like they had like a 2% chance of getting the first overall pick. But the way that they do the math, or the way they pull the ping pong balls out of the machine to determine the order, we knew early that they were going to be in the top 4.
Yeah.
Because it was like, once it got to 9, and 9 was the Mavericks, they immediately had a little graphic that popped up and said, top 4 Chicago Bulls. And I was looking at it on my phone, I was like, oh shit, the Bulls are gonna get a top 4 pick in this draft that I'm not gonna lie and act like I know college basketball. I watched a little bit, I follow March Madness closely, but everyone's saying this draft is loaded. And I was like, the Bulls are in the top 4, and they finally get to it. And then, of course, we are 4, which is fine. I can't be mad that we didn't move.
Hey, look. I'm gonna take. Let me just. All right. I'll take what I can get. All right. I'll take what I can get in this situation. All right.
Yeah.
Because it could have gone way worse.
Nah,
regardless.
No question. And then immediately I started looking at like the mock drafts. The Wizards, which is I guess the closest I have to a local team in Baltimore, would be the Wizards. Once the Baltimore Bullets. I have a buddy who's a diehard Wizards fan. They haven't picked first since John Wall. This team's been ass for so long. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Wizards fans. I think they're finally turning that team around. They got like new people in the front office. They're probably gonna get not Darren Peterson. They're gonna get AJ Dibansa from BYU. That'll be cool for them. They have not had like a number 1 overall pick. They were the worst team in the league the years that we saw like people like Wemby and Cooper Flag get drafted. I'm sure that sucked for them.
Yeah.
So, hey, I hope AJ Dibansa is awesome. It'd be cool to see the Wizards be competitive again. The Eastern Conference needs talent. It needs stars.
That part.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
East needs the beast.
Yeah. Jazz are gonna pick 2, which will presumably be Darren Peterson, who's at Kansas. Number 3, Grizzlies, which talk about a team that needed to move up. Grizzlies in a rough state with the whole job thing going bad. They traded Jaren Jackson Jr. To the Jazz. They need a shot of life, like somebody who could come in and like really do something interesting on that team. And Cam Boozer could be that guy. Duke's Cameron Boozer. But it'll either be him or Caleb Wilson, and whoever they don't pick, I assume the Bulls will get. So we're in a position where the Bulls are going to get, most likely, 99% chance it'll either be Caleb Wilson out of UNC, or Cam Boozer out of Duke, which to me is like the ultimate win-win situation.
Yeah.
Because they both look awesome. Cam Boozer's great. Cam Boozer, the son of Carlos Boozer, great Chicago Bull 2010 legend Carlos Boozer, who I think actually works in like the front office for the Jazz or somebody. But love Carlos Boozer. And if we don't get him, Caleb Wilson looks awesome. Big, like 6'10".
Yeah, that's a big guy.
Forward. Yeah, which hey, the Bulls taking a UNC player in the top 5 of the draft. I like that historically. That's got a nice sound to it. So I'm excited.
There's space for some dubs here. All right.
Yeah.
And of course, we're talking all this shit, and then somehow we managed to fuck it up still. But look, at least for now, let us be excited. All right.
I immediately, everybody was like, the last time the Bulls picked 4, they took Patrick Williams. I was like, well, guess what, motherfuckers? Patrick Williams in this draft. It's a better draft year, all right? You can't mess this up.
Yeah.
GM. We got a smart new GM, or president. I forget all the fucking front office titles. Whoever, in Bryson Graham. Haven't picked a new coach yet. They got cap, so there's a new era. We're starting a new era. But moving beyond the Bulls, the freaking LA Clippers got the 5th pick in the draft, which is kind of absurd. because this was like a heartbreak for the Indiana Pacers, who traded their pick to the Clippers for Ivica Zubac, which Zubac is good, but I don't know if he's worth number 5. But it was a conditional, so it was top 4 protected. So if the pick had landed in the top 4, the Pacers would have kept it. And if it fell outside of the top 4, went to the Clippers, it was 5. It was 1 off from converting and going to the Pacers. So the Pacers, who went from almost winning the NBA Finals, they were up in Game 7 against the Thunder. Tyrese Halliburton tears his Achilles. Literally the worst possible thing that could have happened happens. They have this season, which was pretty much a nightmare from start to finish. They won like 18 games. It was horrible. They were terrible this year. And then they don't even get a draft pick to show for it. That sucks. That really sucks.
Yeah,
but it's
no,
also
that's
kind
a
of the bet
burn.
they made for themselves, because you shouldn't have traded that pick for Zubac. And now
Hey,
the
you
Clippers
feel that,
you know?
feel that instantly, don't you?
That's gotta suck. That, I mean,
They basically got the freaking button from Drag Me to Hell right there. Well, just like, yeah, thought you were free.
This probably does feel like the end of Drag Me to Hell. Yeah, they thought they were about to like lock back in, reload with Tyrese Halliburton, with frickin' Pascal Siakam, and then like one of these blue chip draft prospects. No, man, y'all are going straight to the fucking fields of asphodel. There's nothing left.
Finish him.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The Nets, as my friend Bren said in the chat, Nets legend. Nets got the 6th pick, which is on paper not terrible, but relative to how bad they were last year, not good. They wanted one of those top people, which they are not going to get. But it should be interesting. NBA draft will be fun. It's always cool. Seeing how the picks roll out. And yeah, let's see. Moving through here, the NFL has released a schedule for all 32 teams. And as always, it's kind of like people call it the Super Bowl for the social media teams, as they all put together these creative videos. The Ravens video was terrible. Well, I genuinely one of the worst ones. It was like they forgot that the schedule release was happening today. It was like Zay Flowers crashed like the wedding of 2 Ravens fans, and then they just played it on like a screen. I don't know what that was about. But the Chargers had a great video. They did Halo Infinite, I guess it was, or maybe they would play Master Chief Collection, where they did references to all the teams, but in like a machinima Halo video. They played because they play the Bills early in the season. They have the audio from Cam Newton on his podcast where he's talking about Keon Coleman, and he's like, folks, like, go keep being patient with it. It's like that whole like audio clip out, but it's coming out of like a Spartan. For the Patriots game, they have a little reference to Mike Vrabel.
Yeah,
like a New York Post.
The shade was real.
Yeah. Even just showed the Broncos the plasma grenade hitting Bo Nixon the ankle. He got hurt in the playoffs last year.
It was up 7 words. I'll see you over there on YouTube. You're already bored. Look, I'm sorry. All right, I would be bored too with some of these teams. But hey, look, I'm not gonna throw too much shade. All right, it's fine. The Chargers fine. Okay.
Yeah, I like that they showed the beach here with the Warthog and whatnot. They threw some shade at the Chiefs. Funny video, they've been on like a video game kick because they did Minecraft.
Yeah.
One of the recent years, and they did The Sims another year. So they've been on like this video game streak with all of their breakdowns. The Browns had Matt Pat from Game Theory, formerly the host of Game Theory, on theirs. They did like a Street Fighter thing where it was arcade machines.
Oh yeah.
Like Cleveland fighters,
I just want to shout out, to the Browns, to the Bears doing the Chicago Bob Ross energy. They were just, just doing too much here with Roma Doomsday. But hey, look, all right, they were doing a whole lot, but I'm here for it. All right, I'm not gonna put the entire video up, but yes, we had a beautiful picture made. All right, frame it. Yes, the wig is pretty legit.
Yeah, this just continues to be, the circus in the NFL. We got some interesting holiday games, which I can pull up here. Denny. So the season is going to have a Thanksgiving Eve game, the
Okay.
Wednesday before Thanksgiving on Netflix. It's the Packers at the Rams. So great. I don't know, when we started doing Wednesday night games before Thanksgiving, but the actual
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day slate: your Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions, rivalry game. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys, and then lastly, Thanksgiving will end with the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. Um, New stadium, by the way. So
Okay.
it's a good lineup for
That's
Thanksgiving.
definitely
Assuming
a solid
everyone's
lineup.
healthy.
I mean,
Yeah,
yes, my grandparents and uncles will be definitely tuning in for quality Chicago action. Plenty of commentary in the background.
then I mean, of course, Black Friday, is the following day, Denny, the hot holiday. We're gonna get Broncos at Steelers on Prime Video.
Yeah, yeah.
Woohoo! Get hype.
Woo, we care. Yeah. But you guys can still show us ads, but it's still on streaming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like,
You can remind us that it's Black Friday multiple times, and it's gonna be great.
yeah. Um, Another holiday, Christmas. So Christmas Eve, we get the Houston Texans at the Philadelphia Eagles. Cool. That's a Thursday night. And then on Christmas Day, which is a Friday this year, Green Bay Packers at your Chicago Bears.
Damn
So
right.
that'll be there for you. Right in the afternoon on Christmas morning after you open your gifts, you get to watch that rematch. That'll be fun.
You notice how things are happening. That you notice how they know to bank on Chicago appropriately. All right, because you're gonna get
primetime spots.
because we're gonna get the primetime spots, and we will show up regardless of where the fuck is happening. We're gonna be out there in the tundra. All right, they'll be in the bar still, even if the roads aren't clear. They'll fucking walk. All right, you know what's going to happen. You get a Bears and Green Bay game. People are going to find a way there every time.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I hope you got a Netflix subscription ready to go because it's going to be on Netflix.
Oh God, I just canceled my Netflix. All right, I just ended it last week. Okay, I just shut it down.
You got till December 25th to figure something out. That's going to be the first game of the day. And then following your game is going to be the Buffalo
Darn
Bills
it.
at Denver Broncos, another playoff rematch. And then the day will end with Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. Box.
I mean, it sounds like some quality lineups though. Definitely some
Yeah.
games that could work out, especially considering like what time of the season is happening.
Yeah,
Like
I
this
think
is-
week 3 they got the Ravens going to freaking Brazil to play the Cowboys in Rio
Oh,
de Janeiro
my.
for some reason. So that's fun.
It sounds like
That's
a
gonna be-
really big Cowboy decision there. I could see Jerry Jones all over that.
Yeah.
The Cowboy name will become international. It's going to be global. And then they get blown out by 30 points. But
I hope
It's
so.
fine.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. So yeah, we're getting all that. Should be interesting. Looking forward to having some football back, but I can wait. I'm not like dying to have it just yet. I can wait till September. But they're trucking along. Jump back to some basketball stuff, Danny, because the playoffs are actually happening currently.
yeah, that's still a thing, yes.
Since our last show, the Los Angeles Lakers got swept.
Yeah.
Goodbye. The Thunder did what I think everybody expected to happen, especially with no Luca.
I was giving LeBron at least getting a game out. But
I thought he'd get a game, yeah, but Thunder too good, Lakers too weak. They got handled. Probably won't be LeBron James' final NBA game. I'm sure he will come back next year.
yeah, I think he's gonna come back
Someone
too.
else. You know.
I just find it funny that people kept putting out the celebrity clips and stuff like Eddie Murphy's here, Jessica Alba, and then it's but they lost the game. That was the headline was like Jessica Alba's was there to see the loss. I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad the celebrities were there to watch the L, but maybe we can report on the L.
Yeah.
But fine, that's cool then.
Yeah. Yeah, look, they wanted to be there in case this was truly his final game, I guess, or whatever, but yeah, that's rough. The Thunder are trucking on. They're waiting to get their matchup rolling here in round 3. But first, we got tonight, which is game 6 of round 2 for the Spurs and Timberwolves. The winner of that will face the Thunder for a shot at the finals. And then the Pistons and Cavaliers, who are fighting to face the Knicks for a spot in the finals. And the Cavs are up 3-2.
Yeah,
Thanks
we'll
to-
see if if Asif gets to cheer tonight or not.
He's been waiting, he's been waiting to come on once the Cavs season ends. And they're still alive. They're still fighting. In fact, James Harden, much maligned James Harden, just dropped like 30 points in Game 5 to push them ahead.
You know what it is. I think I understand now. Okay, the secret is that James Harden got an early copy of Iceman. All right, and he's been bumping it before the games, and he finally turned that shit off, and then they started winning. Okay, but that's what I think is happening. All right. Drake was like, "I'm gonna bless you real quick. I'm gonna hit you up, homie." And then he's been bumping that shit before the game, and he's been absolute trash. All right, and he turned that shit off this past game, those past few games, and it was like, "Oh, it's clicking for me now." All right, it's working. No more glove action.
Should have known it was the Drake curse. It's always the Drake curse in sports. Gosh, yeah. I'm looking forward to Game 6 tonight. Both of the Game 6s on Friday nights too is sweet. And if they go to 7, we'll get those on Sunday. So we'll see. But got some good basketball ahead. And speaking of good basketball, the WNBA came back last week, kicking off their 2026 season, the 30th anniversary of the WNBA, their 30th season. Shout out to the LA Sparks. I got their shirt on right now.
Okay, yeah. The Sparks action. Shout out to the ladies. Yeah. Also, shout outs to Lisa Leslie as well. They did announce that she's getting that big statue outside of crypto.com arena. And so
which add her to the lineup. They got so many out there. You walk around and it's just obviously you got the Kobe and Shaq and Magic, and they got like the broadcast booth. It goes all the way around. So she's definitely deserving, right out there with them. And then of course, modern squad. You got Cam Brink out there, who I saw had a clip this week where she blocked Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
Opening game of the season was a great one. It was Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever versus the Wings. Dallas Wings obviously just drafted AZ Fudd out of UConn. They drafted Paige Beckers also out of UConn last year, both number 1 picks. Wings won that game. But some good hoops so far. Been keeping it on the Mystics. I like the Mystics more than I like the Wizards when it comes to DC sports. I really like Sonia Citron over the Mystics.
Yeah.
Been a good start to the year. They added a new team, the Portland Fire. Had their very first game. Was not a win, but it was cool to see the stadium packed out for that.
Yeah, it's been some quality excitement.
Alternate jersey, but yeah, it's been a cool start to the season so far. Yeah.
I think folks are they're paying attention to the ladies, but it's also there's elements of it that I think are just good to see in general, with both how people are treating the league, and I think that big money matters too. Getting those new contracts in and new negotiations and that kind of thing does have an impact. And you got more sponsors involved, more people putting eyes on women playing. It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll be tuning into that, and we're about to get that sort of handoff moment where the NBA will end in June, and then it'll be WNBA only as far as professional basketball over here in the States goes.
Yeah.
Throughout the summer. But that's a conversation we'll revisit next time we talk. We'll have the conference finals set in the NBA. We'll even have a couple games in the books. We'll know what those series are starting to look like. Will the Spurs and Thunder be going at it? Will we get Knicks Cavs? Will the Pistons come back?
There's opportunities here to see some, some quality games, but also potential for shit to go even longer than it has been. but yes. Yeah. All right, before we end here, all right, because it's top of the hour. All right, okay. Donovan, are you going to see Obsession this weekend? We got Obsession happening. All right.
Not only am I going to see Obsession, I got the tickets ready. I'm going tomorrow afternoon before dinner with some friends, a couple of which were in the chat earlier. We are ready. This is quite literally one of my most anticipated movies of the year, Obsession. It's directed by a guy named Curry Barker, who did this YouTube movie called Milk and Cereal a few years ago, which is very good. It's about these guys who run a YouTube prank channel, and then shit just gets crazy. It's a horror movie. But I can't wait for Obsession. It looks so good. I had a buddy saw it last night, and he messaged me and he was like, "I regret seeing it so late because I can't sleep. I'm so freaked out after watching this movie." I can't wait. I want to get scared. I love a good horror movie. Only thing better than watching a good horror movie is watching it with a bunch of people in a movie theater.
Yes.
Which I'll be doing. I'm 100% locked in for Obsession. I will be talking about it next episode of this show. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah,
what about you? You gonna see it?
I'm excited. You know, I originally was like, hey, look, I was locked in, and then I made a promise to someone I was going to see it with them, and they can't this weekend. So now I got to sit on it a little bit longer, but it's going to happen. Yeah, so I'm going to go see Obsession for sure. I've heard great things from some friends that also got to see it early. And yeah, so it's looking like it's got that sauce that I want from a horror film. All right, even from the trailers, it was just, hey, look, it's hitting all that I want.
So good. The marketing's been great.
Yeah, I saw the freaking marketing that like somebody was tweeting how like they got a text message at like 4:30 in the morning and stuff from the girl from the film. They're like, oh, okay, all right, well this is how we're doing things. I'm like, hey,
they're
look,
going viral with it.
Yeah, that's some good stuff right there. So yes, I'm down for this one. I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, to hearing what you got to say about it. Also, like real quick, I did see Mortal Kombat 2 as well last weekend.
Ooh, okay.
And it is a banger. All right, look, it's worth it to go catch. All right, shout outs to, you know, the actors involved. Johnny Cage was the right move. All right, Katana killed it in this one. It is her story. I was like, okay, look, all right, we're not just doing a bunch of bullshit. Yes. They do all the special moves and powers and everything else there that people want, and it was awesome. All right, you get your finish hims, you get your woozy, you know, all that stuff happens in the movie. Check it out. Well, I want to see more people actually going to movie theaters and like making that happen too. Like,
yeah,
more theater time, not just the streaming services. I might end up making some time for Is God Is as well, because I've got some folks who are saying that's been great to catch. That Sterling K. Brown is killing it in that one too, apparently. So hey, it's a good time to be a moviegoer right now. We got some bangers coming out back to back to back. This month is stacked.
Hell
for
yeah,
sure.
And of course, the summer movie season is about to be in full swing. But yeah, I still need to see MK2. I know, like you said, you really liked it. David Craddock really liked it. The guy that wrote the book on Mortal Kombat. Yeah. I'm ready. I'm going to be locked in. So stay tuned for at least a couple reviews next week's episode of Shack Central. But I think with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you for everyone who swung by, chatted with us, or just watched from a distance. We appreciate you nonetheless. We will be back next Friday, which will be the 22nd of May. How the hell is this week flying by already?
Yes.
Good Lord.
We're hitting in the Memorial Day weekend next, so, you know, strap in, folks.
My gosh. Yeah, it's true. So with that, thank you for tuning in, everybody. Please follow Shack News all over the internet, wherever you can find us. We're on YouTube. We got 3 channels: Shack News Interview, Shack News VODs. We're on Twitch on this channel that you're watching us on right now. I stream all the time. Please follow. If you're even on Instagram, we're on Blue Sky. We're on TikTok. We might have even made a Threads. Go look at Shack News over there. You might find us. We're all over the place.
We're cooking.
Please, support us. Danny's got all the links for you down there. Thank you, Bren. Great stream. We appreciate you stopping by as always. But we will catch you guys next week for another fun stream.
Yeah, thanks for pulling up, Mocha. I appreciate you. Yes, more stream action and yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. Have a great weekend. You know, it is Friday. Slide into a good one. Be easy. We'll see you again soon.